Hey everyone, my name is Gaudi, and recently I've been really thinking about who in the car manufacturing industry would be a good competitor to Tesla, because right now Tesla is just so far ahead of everyone else. It's kind of hard to imagine anyone could catch up to Tesla. Now, I'm not saying that anyone would, but I want to figure out who could give Tesla some competition. Now, based off of what I've seen so far, I believe that NIO is probably the best contender to Tesla. So what I want to do in this video is go through NIO's latest earnings call, talk through some of the things that they shared there, as well as share some of my general thoughts on the company. All right, so when NIO shared their earnings, there was a bit of a mixed reaction to it. They had missed earnings per share by quite a large margin. I believe it was negative 14 cents compared to the expected negative 7 cents. But they did basically reach revenue for the year. Now, I do think it's a little disappointing that they did miss earnings per share, but I think the bigger thing to look at was the vehicle margin. The vehicle margin for NIO actually increased from about 14% to 17.2%. And I think this is a very good indicator because NIO will be making more money from each vehicle sold. Every earnings, I want to see vehicle margin increasing. And I want it to increase for good reasons. So what I mean by good reasons is things like improvements in the manufacturing process, design changes that increased profitability for vehicles, not things like vehicle credits. So during the earnings call, one of the reasons NIO stated for their increase in vehicle margin was in fact better negotiated pricing on materials. And this is nice, but I really want to see improvements to vehicle margin due to design changes and manufacturing changes. Next, I want to touch on NIO's autonomous driving, what they call NAD, N-A-D. Now, NIO's latest autonomous driving package, dubbed NIO Aquila Super Sensing and NIO Atom Supercomputing, this package is going to be released with their ET7. And it contains a suite of sensors, cameras, and LiDAR. Now, NIO's autonomous driving package is driven by NVIDIA's Orion SoCs. Now, when I read about NIO's autonomous driving, I see more improvements as time goes on, and they are providing a package, an autonomous driving package, that is fairly comparable to Tesla, that is currently out in the field, not their beta version. And just to read off some of the capabilities that NIO's autonomous driving has are things like highway on-ramp to off-ramp, lane merging, cruising on highways, adaptive cruise control, self-automatic parking assist, lane keeping assist, cross-traffic alert. Now, a bullish indicator for NIO's autonomous driving is that they actually hired someone that specializes in autonomous driving. NIO hired Ren Xiaoqing, who is the co-founder of a Chinese autonomous driving startup called Momenta. And this hiring could be an indicator that NIO might be exploring a in-house developed autonomous driving software package, because currently NIO uses Mobileye, which is an Intel company. So NIO's autonomous driving package sounds like it's on level 3-ish autonomous driving, but I really want to see NIO push it to level 4 by the end of this year. Now, an interesting thing that NIO is doing with their autonomous driving is providing it as a pay-per-month service. And NIO is dubbing this ADAS, or Autonomous Driving as a Service. And essentially, instead of having to pay upfront for the software, you would pay per month for a subscription service of the autonomous driving. Now, I think this is a nice option to give your customers because some people might be apprehensive to pay a large amount of money upfront for software that they may not intend to use. And it would help convert people to maybe buying that package instead of doing the per month, because of course over time the subscription per month would cost more than buying the software up front. Now, NIO really has to step up their game here with autonomous driving, because I believe the expectation with electric vehicles is that they come with some form of autonomous driving. If you don't have that, I think your product is less attractive to the customers. All right, now let's move on to NIO's Battery as a Service, or BaaS. Essentially their battery swapping technology. Now, I find this part of NIO particularly interesting because this is something that Tesla actually tried to do a while back, I believe in 2014 or 15 in the United States, and it pretty much flopped. No one really adopted it. No one really wanted to do it. And now here's NIO pushing this technology. Now in the earnings call, NIO did mention that they have a take rate of 65% on new orders of vehicles for using the battery as a service. Now, what this means is a customer would be paying a subscription per month to use whatever battery is installed in their vehicle. And say that customer wanted to upgrade or downgrade their battery, they could simply post a appointment with NIO, go into a swap station, swap out for their desired battery, and then pay a different subscription based on which whether they upgraded or downgraded their battery. I think this is good because if new battery technology comes out that is in the same form factor that can be installed in older vehicles, people don't have to buy a new car to get the new battery. What they can do is request this new battery and have it installed into their older vehicle, and this kind of helps people adopt electric vehicles. Now, what I don't like about battery swapping technology is if it's going to be used to replace or compete with charging stations. I do not think battery swapping is a viable option for charging. There are so many overhead costs with trying to ramp up and build and maintain so many battery swapping stations to compete with charging stations. So you've got to buy the real estate, you've got to build the building, you've got to maintain battery inventory at these places. And then you probably need to consider that most customers might not trust the battery inventory that's being cycled through these stations on a consistent basis. I think if these charge stations are relegated to just performing upgrades and downgrades to batteries, that would be a more desirable and less costly thing to maintain than treating them as an alternative to charging stations. But overall, I think the battery as a service, as well as their autonomous driving as a service, are good things that they're implementing to help adopt electric vehicles. Now, something else that NIO mentioned that I'm really bullish about is they're planning to expand into Europe this year. And that is great, getting penetration outside of their home market. And maybe this snowballs into releasing into the United States. And if they can penetrate these markets, they will definitely be a better, stronger competitor to Tesla. Now, a couple of other things that NIO mentioned during their earnings call is that they're investing more into research and development. What that's going into, I don't know. Could be that autonomous driving that might be built in-house. That might be something that they're working on. Additionally, NIO is upping their manufacturing capability by signing an agreement with Hefei, so the local government, to help build a new manufacturing facility. Now, this one in particular, I don't know if NIO owns this manufacturing because they currently work with a JAC Motors, which is a state-owned company by China. It would be nice if this was owned by NIO because they can reduce their costs, increase their margins on their vehicles because it's all integrated into one company instead of having to outsource that manufacturing to another company that needs to make profits, and then that just cuts into NIO's bottom line. And then finally, NIO's expanding their charging network, which is great. Now, to kind of close this video, I do want to share a thought I had about NIO's battery swapping that might be applicable for robo-taxis. And so if you think about it, if a robo-taxi needs to charge midday, they would go to a charging station and sit around for X amount of time, let's say 30 to 40 minutes. An alternative might be to have that vehicle autonomously drive into a NIO battery swap station, swap out the battery in 5 minutes, and then go back out in the field with a fully charged battery. That might be something that NIO could look into doing in select regions or areas where it makes sense and they can make money. The only problem I have with this idea is that if battery density gets great enough to where a robotaxi can operate a full day without having to charge and then be able to charge to full overnight or wherever their downtime is, then this idea basically goes into the pooper. So, but it was just food for thought. So from everything I've seen with NIO, I think they're on the right track, and they need to really show me improvements in their autonomous driving and more vehicle sales. These are the two factors I really need to look at, as well as vehicle margin, always improving quarter after quarter. All right, if you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about my thoughts on NIO, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.